WTBQ.
And we are back. And as I said prior to our little pause, I wanted to talk to you about something nice that's going on in the city of Newburgh. In Newburgh, there is a chance for students who did drop out of school to get a second chance. And what I'm referring to, or to which I am referring, is the Newburgh Prep Charter School. Now, this is a school that's a bit non-traditional in nature for a number of reasons. And we are going to have Tom Fitzgerald, who is the founder of the school, on the air with us in just a moment. But the reason why I'm saying it's non-traditional is not only because it gives students a second chance, it also is different in a number of different ways, okay? The school year is longer with Newburgh Prep, so the students are involved. They don't have as long a summer vacation, so they're involved a little bit more. And then also, it has a longer school day. The classes are in session from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. It's like a job. So when a student gets to this point, getting into the Newburgh Prep School, they obviously are showing some type of commitment because they want to get there. They have dropped out. They don't have enough credits for a Regents diploma. And this is one of the things that Newburgh Prep does. So I do believe we have Mr. Fitzgerald. Are you on the air?
Yes, I am.
Oh, thank you so much for calling the Tuesday Roundtable with Lorraine. Sorry about the earlier confusion. I wanted to talk to you about Newburgh Prep, and I wanted you to, if you could, basically explain what's going on this Thursday. Let's tie it into this Thursday's event.
Okay, so this Thursday is our third graduation ceremony. Let me say third or fourth actually. As a student comes into Newburgh Prep, we evaluate where they are as far as their high school credits are concerned and as far as their Regents exams are concerned, because you need 22 credits to graduate in New York State, and you need to pass 5 Regents exams. So we evaluate that, and then we determine a program for the student that will get them to that goal as quickly as possible, because all of these students are what they call overaged and undercredited. They're behind already. So as the students achieve these goals, as they complete the 22 credits, and as they complete the 5 Regents exams, passing the 5 Regents exams, they're eligible to graduate. So we graduated students in January last year. We graduated students in June of last year, again in August, and now here we are back in January again. And
it's based on whether or not they complete the curriculum that's required.
Well, I mean, the New York State is very specific about what they have to complete. It's not just any 22 credits. It's a prescribed program that they must complete. And they take those courses at Newburgh Prep, the same courses that they would have taken at the Newburgh Academy or any other high school.
Now, can you just maybe back up a second and explain to our listeners how a student actually arrives at Newburgh Prep? Is there outreach, or do they come knocking on the door saying, please help me? How does this work?
Well, I wish we had a clear answer as to what works best. All of the above, I guess I could say.
Okay.
I guess we have done outreach. We have certainly done outreach. We have worked with Team Newburgh, which is a very effective organization in the Newburgh area, and every month they go out and they distribute information on the street. And we have been part of that for more than a year now, a year and a half. So that gets out there. And then we finally have arrived at a situation where some of the guidance counselors at Newburgh Academy are actually referring students to us because they realize that they're just not going to make it at Newburgh Academy.
I see.
But I think the most effective method so far, which is sort of uncontrollable, is word of mouth. And most of the students who come to us have heard from our students that this is a second chance. You're having a lot of trouble. You don't think you're going to make it. You have a better chance coming to Newburgh Prep.
So, in other words, at that point, when a student arrives in the door of Newburgh Prep, they do have a higher level of commitment than they did when they were in, quote-unquote, traditional high school. Is that correct?
Well, we certainly hope so. I think what we've noticed is that the younger the student is, so we cannot take anyone who is less than 16. They have to be 16, and they have to have started ninth grade.
Okay.
So the closer they are to 16 and ninth grade, the more difficult it is to get that kind of commitment, because they haven't really yet experienced what it's like to be out there on the street, without a high school diploma, without the prospect of a high school diploma, and in fact, without the prospect of anything. So the students who seem to come in with more commitment are the ones who are 17, 18, and even more commitment, 19 and even 20. And those students who are 19 and 20, if they've amassed a solid number of credits, we hope for like 16 credits coming in, and maybe have passed 2 of the 5 Regents exams, then they don't. We can get them out in maybe 6 months if they really apply themselves and do the work.
Now, it seems like with Newburgh Prep, you're not only giving them educational skills, you seem to be giving them other skill sets, as far as willingness to learn and also dealing with things in life. Can you expound a little bit on what other possible skill sets these children or I should say students, are getting from Newburgh Prep?
Yeah, I preach this all the time, as a matter of fact, because even though our goal is to get each student a high school diploma, that cannot be the only goal. We can't push them through the program and get them the high school diploma, and then that's it. So it's very, very important for us to keep in mind the connections between school and career, school and college. We work with OC. And we try to, get students connected with that so that they can go from Newburgh Prep into SUNY Orange. So that's very important. The other side of it is also that this is not only academic. So you mentioned, I heard you in your little intro there. You mentioned the 9 to 5 school and all of that. Well, this is all an effort to change attitudes about what's happening in their lives. That, a job is normally a 9 to 5 job. So we want this to feel like a job, to be like a job, to make the kind of commitment to this that you would make for a job. So we're building in, internship programs in the community so the students can go out and actually participate in a workplace experience. We feel this is very important, too, because it's not enough just to get a high school diploma these days and then to go back on the street, because it means nothing.
And what type of internship programs are you what are you speaking about there?
We're just at the beginning of this. We've been working on it for a long time, but it's certainly not easy. We have a course called College and Career Readiness. Now, it's an elective course, means it's elective credit, but we require it. It's a course that everybody has to take. And as part of that course, you might be in class in the afternoon, and it's always afternoon, for 2 days or 3 days 1 week, and then work the other 2 days at that same time period. And then you might swap. So it's either going to be 3 days a week or 2 days a week. So half of the time that you're in this course, you're in the classroom. The other time, you're out there in the field. And the field and the classroom have to be connected. So there are, in addition to the work itself that you're doing, there are other requirements like journaling requirements and, writing about your experiences and reporting your experiences to the group and that kind of thing.
So this is basically a non-traditional learning environment, and I understand that you employ certain models that aren't necessarily used in other educational systems, like, for example, the Partnership for Innovation and Compensation for Charter Schools, which is, to shorten it, is PICS. Can you share with us a little bit about how this works? Because it looks rather interesting, and I just don't know enough about it.
Well, PICS is really the whole reason that this came about.
Okay.
PICS is part of an organization called CEI-PEA, a nonprofit in New York City that works with New York City schools and other schools. PICS is its charter school branch.
Okay.
And I was a consultant with PICS for a number of years. And in my experience with PICS, I came across a school in Lower Manhattan that was doing exactly this for the students there. It's called Wildcat Academy. And I spent a day there, examining this program, not with the idea of doing anything like it, but just because I was interested in what was happening here with students who had dropped out of high school.
Mm-hmm.
And on the train that afternoon on the way home, I said to myself, Newburgh needs something like this. Now, I worked in Newburgh School District for many years, so I know that it needs something like this. And so I thought, with the dropout situation that they have in Newburgh, I'm sure people have seen the statistics in the record. They were there recently. I think they're claiming now 67% graduation rate. And again, not everybody agrees on what the numbers are, but it's somewhere in that lower 60% range. There's a lot of kids who are not graduating from high school, and they're out on the street, and again, with no prospect.
That's just simply not acceptable.
It's not acceptable. So, it was an easy thing to make that link between Wildcat Academy and what should happen in Newburgh. Mm-hmm. It wasn't quite that easy to make it happen.
Oh, I can imagine. But as far as I know, you worked in the Newburgh Enlarged City School District for many years. You did the consulting for charter schools in New York City. So I think if anyone was well equipped to do it, it would be you. Could you just, if you don't mind, share a little bit more about your background and also the rest of the inspiration for this coming about?
Okay. One of the people involved with us, still involved in the school, said to me one day before the school opened, why are you doing this? And the only answer I could give is one you sort of touched on just now, is because I had the unique experience that enabled me to do this. Mm-hmm. I couldn't have done this 5 years ago because I didn't have that experience. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I knew there was a problem. Everybody in Newburgh knows there's a problem. Everybody at NSA knows there's a problem. We have worked on this problem for years and years and years without a great deal of success. Mm-hmm. But once I saw PICS, once I learned about PICS, and I learned about the school improvement model, mm-hmm. which is what it's all about, and I learned about Wildcat Academy, and I was a leadership coach and a person who worked with principals and teachers on evaluation and things mm-hmm. like that. I decided that I probably had enough knowledge. I probably naively decided that, but I probably had enough knowledge to put this together. I also had the support of the people at PICS mm-hmm. Who understand these things and who work with many, many other charter schools. And I had the support of many local people, especially local educators that I had brought together to discuss this.
Well, so, it sounds like, Tom, we do have to pause for a moment. Would you be able to hang on for just a few moments?
Sure.
Oh, okay. Sure. And when we come back, we're going to talk more with Tom Fitzgerald, who was ignorantly and blissfully proceeding down this path of establishing Newburgh Prep. When we come back. WTBQ. And we are back. You're listening to the Tuesday Roundtable on WTBQ, and I'm your host, Lorraine. And I believe I still have Tom Fitzgerald from Newburgh Prep on the line. Are you there?
I'm still here.
Yay! That's great. Now, before we had a brief pause for our sponsors, we were talking about your inspiration for starting the school and your blissful ignorance as far as what it was going to entail. So right. What exactly did you find the most difficult for you to address when you were trying to get this school established?
Well, that's a tough question because
I know. I do that once in a while.
The list. I would say the most difficult was the financial part of it.
Okay.
Because financial was certainly not my expertise, mm-hmm. and I never had started a small business. Mm-hmm. And the fact is that nonprofit that it is, mm-hmm. it is a small business. Okay. And starting a school like this requires some knowledge of how to start a small business and how to make the finances work. So there were some misunderstandings at the beginning of this process because, mm-hmm. Honestly, this is the first charter school of its type in a small city's school district in New York State. Mm-hmm. In New York City, in Buffalo, in Syracuse, Rochester, it's a different situation with charter schools because the city budgets are so tremendous that the money that for the charter schools is not that is not that apparent. It doesn't hurt as much.
Right.
But in a small city school district like Newburgh, you know, $1 million is going to make a lot of difference to the school district. And at first, I believed that, you know, there was enough money from the federal grant. We got a federal grant to do this, and from what they call, you know, the student. I can't think of the word right now, but the money that comes for each student in the school.
Oh, the per pupil state aid, or
per pupil state aid. Thank you. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Per pupil state aid. That would do it, and I didn't know at the time that the way it works is for the first 2 years of the school, there is no reimbursement to the school district for that per pupil state aid. I didn't know that. Nobody knew that, except maybe the finance people in Albany.
Right.
Because no other charter school had ever faced this situation. So here we were finding that out for the first time, that the Newburgh School District was going to have to fund this for 2 years without getting any reimbursement from the state.
And let me interrupt you for a moment. My personal opinion is that whether they're paying for a student that's in your school or paying for a student in the public school, what's the difference? I mean, you're paying for the student, you're helping these students out. So to me, that's like, I know people are affected by their taxes. I pay school taxes, and I don't have children in the school system. But for the greater good, and that's the rationale, you would do something like this. Well, this is giving students a second chance, and you would still, in my opinion, be paying for them, whether they're at Newburgh Academy or in your school or whatever. So
I'm certainly not going to disagree with what you just said. I mean,
okay, good.
The fact is that if we thought about this too at the beginning, that if we took 100 students off the street of Newburgh who had dropped out of school, and we brought them to NFA, and we said, you have to take these students back. They want to come back, you have to take them back. They're not 21 years old yet. They're high school age. They started ninth grade. They would have to take them back and pay for them. And the same situation would occur that for the first 2 years, they would not be reimbursed for these students.
And the students might not do as well, because isn't that like the type of environment that they came from originally?
Well, the truth is they wouldn't go back.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, this is an opportunity, and this is what we need to focus on. This is an opportunity to give second chance to some students who might not have made it. And I'm sure the people that are graduating this Thursday and the other graduating classes are very appreciative of the fact that you did undertake this, which I think it's a wonderful thing that you've been able to accomplish. And before we have to sign off with you, I just want to ask you, Tom, is there anything else you want to point out about the schools that about Newburgh Prep that we need to know about? And if somebody is interested in getting more information about Newburgh Prep, where do they go?
Okay, so the first part, if I have any disappointment at all, it's a little bit of disappointment that there hasn't been more of an outcry from the community for this, an outcry and of support, really, that says, you know, this is a good thing. We need to support this in every way we can because it's saving kids. Right? I'd like to see more of that. You know, people are somewhat hesitant, maybe because of the political issues involved here. They don't want to support a charter school. But the emphasis on our school is not on the word charter. It's on the word, you know, graduation, saving students. And that's what we're trying to do.
And I want to point out, Tom, and I'm going to read a statement that you had delivered to Governor Cuomo. You said, and I quote you, "We want to reach more kids. We want to help them get back on the right path so they can have a good life. That's what all adults should want for our state's kids. But this can't happen for our students without a great education and a high school diploma. We are helping our students get there, but we can't do it alone. More funding, especially facilities funding, would help us reach more children. We hope lawmakers and Governor Cuomo hear our message, and hopefully the message is getting out here on WTBQ.
Well, and we thank you for that, of course, and you know, that statement is certainly true.
Yes, and Tom, I want to thank you, Tom Fitzgerald, the founder of the Newburgh Prep Charter School, for coming on the air with us and sharing this information. I think it's something that we needed to pay attention to. So thanks again, Tom.
Thank you, and anytime you want to talk again, I'm available.
Excellent, Tom. That was Tom Fitzgerald, Newburgh Prep.